Well, if you've seen very many of my grafting videos, you know I absolutely love to use parafilm when I do my grafting. Now when I refer to parafilm, I am referring to this particular roll that you would find if you search for it online. But parafilm is not plastic wrap. I used to use a small roll that came in a little grafting kit, and what I found was it didn't hold on very well to my grafts. Sometimes it held in too much water. It would actually help rot the grafts out, and it just wouldn't hold tight on its own, and so I'd have to use something else to tie it. So one of the things I really like about this is that it will hold in moisture and it will keep the graft from drying out. Both the Union and the Scion can dry out very rapidly. I think most of my failures with grafting with stone fruit are because I didn't get those things attached quick enough. Another thing I really love about this is that when I use it, it stretches quite easily. Sometimes it can stretch a little bit too much if I'm getting a little too excited, or a bug gets in my ear and I pull it a little too far, then it can snap. But even if it does, when you stretch it, it actually gets a bit waxy and it will adhere to itself. So you take it, you start to wrap it around, and even if it does snap off, you grab the next piece and you keep going, and you can continue that same wrap. So you don't have to go get rubber bands and tie those around it to hold it on, or tape, or any other solution. It is the solution for itself. So when I do my bud grafting, usually I only even use the parafilm. I have been working with maybe using wraps at the top and bottom of the bud graft, not over the bud, but using other materials there to hold the bud in. But this, I've found, works really well on its own, as long as I've made the cuts that I needed to and really gotten a good solid connection of my cambium layers between my bud and my stock. And the final pro I want to discuss on this is that it lets the buds break through. That's actually the main reason I use this. So many times when using the plastic, I would forget what I grafted, when I grafted, forget to check up on it, and find that it rotted out, or that it hadn't sealed in like it needed to. Maybe the plastic wrap came off. This holds on very well to itself, and it lets the buds break through. So those buds can come out whenever they're ready, and I don't have to go check to see if they are ready. So with this, I've even had great success at my in-laws. I went and grafted different apple varieties for them, wrapped it with this parafilm, and I was just visiting. They're about 10 hours away from us, 10-hour drive. And all of those things didn't have to be managed by them. I didn't have to tell them, oh, go check this, make sure it's still tight, make sure it's still on there. But when the buds were ready, they broke through. But aside from them going out there and checking if the grafts worked just to satisfy my curiosity, they didn't have to go out there and do anything for the graft. All they did is go out there once in the year to take off the wrapping that I put around the Union, which was not with the parafilm. So as far as disadvantages to using this, I think the first is one you can overcome just by getting used to it, and that's just that when you're stretching it in your hands, it can break, and that can be annoying. If you're trying to get this wrapped, you've got it set up real specifically, and then it keeps breaking in your hand. That could be very annoying. But once you get used to how it stretches and about how much pressure you can put on it, I think that problem will go away for you. You just have to give it some tries. I'd try wrapping some things that aren't even your graft first before you're risking a bud drying out while you're trying to figure out how to do it. Another con is that it can be hard to get it tight enough around your graft union. That's why I typically don't, unless it's just bud grafting. I'd usually use strips of plastic bags to wrap instead of the parafilm, just because you need that to stay tight a lot longer. But I definitely recommend using a different material for the actual union on your Scion if you're doing, say, a whip and tongue graft. But I do use this in conjunction with those other solutions and wrap the buds up so that we don't lose the moisture. So to close, I just want to show you guys some of the grafts that I've successfully done here just about a month ago that have pushed through on their own through the parafilm and are doing great on healing in. So let's go take a look at those. So these are 3 here that I grafted, again, just about a month ago. The first one over here is a Montrose apricot. I grafted it onto a red leaf Indian peach seedling that I had growing here. And you can see I did do a additional wrapping the top and bottom of the buds on this one, and I used a little bit of electrical tape for that, but that bud came right on through. You can see where it's tore through the parafilm, come out, and it's putting on plenty of growth. Just need to get a little more fertilizer and a little more water in there with it. Next is another one of those Finger Lakes super hardy peaches I put on a red leaf Indian peach, and this one was a whip and tongue that I did, and so I've got the union right here wrapped in. I actually used parafilm for it first, and then I covered that in this electrical tape, and if you come up, it's doing quite nicely. Both of these buds here at the top burst through with new growth, and looks like they're already starting to put out shoots. So I just wanted to experiment with how well that was going to work on a whip and tongue in the middle of the summer without having any sort of top growth left on the tree, just forcing all of that to go into this new scion here. And then one that I grafted on without getting rid of the top growth right over here. So I did a bit of a side veneer graft on this one, put it in, it also burst right through the parafilm, came on out, it's giving me a lot of good growth. So I'll go ahead and today cut off this other branch here, which I had cut in half, and you see it shot out a lot down here. But I wanted to give it a bit of extra energy here that it could put into the graft, and it certainly did. So we'll go ahead and snip that off so that this will take over and be a branch on this side of the tree. And once I do that, I'll probably actually go ahead and graft in over here on this side, and then I will have that same V formation I'm looking for, and I'll have another tree for that little new peach orchard that I'm putting in. So hopefully this helps give you guys an idea why I use parafilm, and I hope this helps you decide if this is the right solution for you. Thanks for watching.